Students, welcome to session 8 of Habitat of the Living. Students, in the previous session we discussed about adaptation, introduction to adaptations, and we will continue this session. We will continue this topic in today's session also, that is adaptations for a particular habitat. So let us start with our first habitat, that is rainforests, tropical forests. So let us study about adaptations for tropical forests, which are also popularly called as rainforests. Now you must be knowing that why do we call tropical forests as rainforest? Do you remember? Try to recall. Yes, because this is the region, this is the forest where it rains a lot. That is, the annual rainfall is more than 200 centimeters. That is why it is termed as rainforest. And there are many animals and plant species which are found here. So we are going to study about all those animals and plant species which have adapted themselves to survive in tropical forests. So basically there are billions or millions of species, means kinds of mammals, insects, birds, reptiles, which are found in tropical rainforests or tropical forests. So there are so many that they have not been even named or even identified yet. But yes, there is a huge variety of animals which are found in rainforests. So basically tropical rainforests are almost perfect for survival of animals. Like it is always warm and there are no season changes, bringing times when there is little food. There is abundance of food available for the animal species, and that is why many billions of species are found here in tropical forests. So basically there is no scarcity of food, even there is shade from the heat and shelter from the rain. There is ample amount of water available to animals. There is a huge variety of animals which are found in rainforests, therefore the competition for food is very high. So many animals have adapted themselves by learning to eat a particular food which is not even eaten by any other animal. So about half of all the world's animal species live in tropical rainforests in all the layers of the forest. Different animals are found in different countries, and it is estimated that there are more than 50 million different kinds of insects alone in tropical forests. Almost 50 different species of ants were found on one tree in Peru. Peru is a place where these 50 different species of ants were found. So tropical forests are almost perfect for animal survival. And because there are so many creatures living in the rainforest, there is a great deal of competition for food, sunlight, and even shelter. So animals have developed special features in order to survive, and this is called adaptation. So let us have a look at some examples and what kind of animal species are here who have adapted themselves and what kind of adaptation they have. Yes, here you can see a beautiful picture of three-toed sloth. This is a picture of three-toed sloth. The sloth has a type of adaptation called camouflage. Now what is camouflage? Yes, it is an adaptation in which certain animals are shaped or colored to match their surroundings, which makes them difficult to spot. And this adaptation enables them to hide from predators. So this is the South American three-toed sloth, which has camouflage and amazing slowness to escape predators. predators. So it has this type of adaptation called camouflage, where green algae, they grow in the sloth's fur, which helps camouflage it in the forest. Sloths are among the slowest moving animals of all. They hang from branches in the forest, and they are so still that predators such as jaguars even don't see them. They are not able to see them. So how beautifully they have adapted themselves. So this is one example. Other examples are leaf insects and stick insects. They also show camouflage. Now here you can see the beautiful picture of leaf insect. This is leaf insect and stick insect. This is leaf insect and this is stick insect. Now they also have adaptation called camouflage. Many rainforest animals have such type of adaptation to disappear in the rainforest. Right? So stick insects are perfect examples for this. There are some butterflies whose wings look like leaves. So camouflage is of course useful for predators too, so that they can catch prey that hasn't seen them. So this is an example of a camouflaged predator. The other animals are also there, like here you can see the beautiful pictures. Now this one is a beautiful picture of leaf cutter ants. This is a picture of toucan. This is a flightless bird, dodo, which is extinct now, and this is, and all you know, parrot. So even leaf cutter ants, there are some animals which have become very specialized, and this means that they have adapted to eating a specific type of plant or animal that few others eat. For example, parrots and toucans, they eat nuts and developed big strong beaks to crack open the tough shells of nuts. See how tough beaks they have and how beautifully they look like. Then leaf cutter ants, they climb tall trees and cut small pieces of leaves which they carry back to their nest. So the leaf pieces they carry are about 50 times their weight. But then too, they are so hard workers. The ants bury the leaf pieces, and the combination of the leaves and the ants' saliva encourages the growth of fungus, which is the only food for these ants. So sometimes there are relationships between animals and plants that benefit both. Some trees depend on animals to spread the seeds of their fruit to distant parts of the forest, and there are birds and mammals that eat the fruits and travel some distance before the seeds pass through their digestive systems in another part of the forest. So one problem with this specialization is that if one species becomes extinct, the other is in danger too, unless it can adapt in time. One such example is that of a flightless bird, dodo. The dodo, which is a flightless bird flightless bird of Mauritius, became extinct in 1681, in the year 1681. Even there is one more example of Calvaria tree. Today there are just 13 Calvaria trees left on the island, each over 300 years old and nearly at the end of their life. And scientists realized that the seeds had to pass through a dodo's digestive system before they could germinate. Germinate means before they could begin to grow, to produce. So it seemed that the tree species would also become extinct, but scientists tried domestic turkeys and they have successfully managed to germinate some seeds. But this is just one thing, that when the problem can arise if one species become extinct. There are other animals too Like this is a picture of the poison arrow frogs. These are two different pictures of the same animal, poison arrow frogs. This is also poison arrow frog, this is also poison arrow frog. So these are the animals which are poisonous, and they use bright colors to warn predators to leave them alone. So there are several species of such brightly colored poison arrow frogs. Even the native Central and South American tribes used to wipe the ends of their arrows onto the frog's skin to make their arrows deadly poisonous. How amazing it is, right? So American tribes used to wipe their ends of arrows with this to make it deadly poisonous, to kill a person with that poisonous arrow. So this is all about the animals which are found in tropical forests. Let us now discuss about the plants and other plant species which are found in these tropical forests or the rainforests. Students, the tropical rainforests have billions of species of plants. Species means different kinds of plants. Scientists do not yet know all the species that are to be found in the tropical rainforest, and new ones are also still being discovered. So there are some adaptations which are shown by the rainforest plants. And the reason there are so many species is because that rainforests are very old, some almost 100 million years old, which means dinosaurs probably lived at that time. About 10,000 years ago, the ice caps at the poles spread out in an ice age, but the ice didn't reach the equator. So tropical rainforests survived, and their plant and animal species continue to evolve when other places on earth had to start growing plants all over again. So in the tropics, it is always hot and it rains every day. It is warm. Tropical rainforests are the wettest places on earth. And so tropical rainforest plants grow over 200 meters high, and many have fruit that provides food for animals and people, and many rainforest plants are gathered for food or medicines, and this is done without harming the rainforest even. So there are many everyday foods originated in rainforests, including tomatoes, peppers, corn, rice, coconut, banana, coffee, cassava, cocoa, beans, sweet potatoes, etc. Many, and so on. So in order to survive in the hot or warm climate, wet tropics, plants of the tropical forests have had to develop special features, and this is called adaptation of these plants. Because the weather is hot and wet, trees do not need thick bark to slow down moisture loss and have instead thin, smooth bark. There are some leaves of rainforest trees which have adapted to cope up with large amount of rain, like leaves of tropical trees which have specialized tips called as drip tips. Can you see this beautiful image of the leaf? They have specialized tips called as drip tips. Now drip tips here enable raindrops, here is a raindrop, raindrops to run off quickly. They enable raindrops to run off quickly, not allowing them to stick to leaves. So what happens that these leaves are big, thick and waxy, and they have drip tips to let the rain drain off quickly. And many large trees have huge ridges also. But they are the different kind of species. They are different kinds of plants. These are drip tips. And due to dense vegetation of rainforest, very little light is able to reach the forest floor. So basically, these drip tips are able to adapt themselves in such a way that they can survive in these forests. But these forests definitely have a dense vegetation where there is very little light to able to reach the forest floor. One more thing about rainforest is that There are very few plants which are able to survive on the rainforest floor. This is one example. This is, an image of rainforest floor. This is the rainforest floor. Now what happens in the rainforest floor? There is a twist that there is dense vegetation of rainforest and very little light is able to reach, and therefore very few plants are able to survive over here. There are other examples too, but before that we need to know that there are some plants which have adapted by creeping up nearby trees to reach the sunlight. So rainforest floor have many such plants or very few plants because of the lack of light. So plants which are growing in lower levels have big leaves to absorb as much sunlight as possible. Right? So that is the thing to remember about tropical forests. There are many few plants growing in a rainforest floor. Other examples other than drip tips are orchids. Here you can see this is the beautiful picture of orchids, and this is the beautiful picture of bromeliads, and this is the beautiful picture of one such tree known as liana. So the layers of rainforest are actually connected by vines. We cannot say that they are connected, but yes, they have vines and ferns and mosses which grow on trees. So liana is one such climbing vine that grows on rainforest trees, climbing into the forest layer, so its leaves get more sunlight. Here you can see one such image of liana. Even there are orchids and bromeliads. So plants like orchids and bromeliads also grow in rainforests. Like bromeliads are native to the Americans. Bromeliads leaves form a central tank where water collects, and small creatures like tiny creatures or mosquitoes and dragonfly larvae, tadpoles, frogs, birds, salamanders often live there. So some bromeliads grow in soil, but most of them grow on tree branches. There are other examples too, like we discussed about drip tips, liana, bromeliads and orchids. There are other examples too, like buttresses. And this is Rafflesia. So many large trees have huge ridges. Here you can see some ridges. They are called as buttresses near the base. They may be 10 to 12 meters high where they join into its trunk, and they increase the surface area of a tree so that it can breathe in. They can breathe in more carbon dioxide and breathe out, or they can give out more oxygen. They can release oxygen. So nutrients in the soil are near the surface, so the big rainforest trees have quite shallow roots. The buttresses supports the trees. And even some trees have above ground roots called as prop or stilt roots. There are some other plants, there are some other trees which have above ground roots called as prop roots or stilt roots, which give extra support to the trees, and these roots can grow about 85 centimeters in a month. How amazing it is, right? And talking about Rafflesia, there are some tropical rainforest plants which are carnivores or meat eating or flesh eating. They have a cavity filled with either sweet or terrible smelling nectar that attracts insects, especially ants and flies. So inside the sides are steep and lined with downward pointing hairs. Here we cannot see clearly in this image, but they have downward pointing hairs. So insects enter and lose their footing or are prevented from leaving because of the hairs. So Rafflesia is one such plant, one such tree. There are plants which are carnivorous, but there is one such more plant, Rafflesia, which is found in Indonesian rainforest, that produces the biggest flower in the world. So this is the biggest flower in the world. So we can see that there are thousands of flowering plants which grow onto trees so that they get sunshine, and their roots are not in soil, and the plants get their food from air and water. So all these types of species or plants and animals are found in tropical forests or rainforests. I hope you liked today's session and you learned about the adaptations for tropical forests, which include several types of species of plants and animals. So we will continue this session of adaptation, but for other habitat. We will discuss about the adaptations for other habitat, that is the forest only, but a type of forests, in the next session. Till then, enjoy and have a nice time.